Hi friends, it's Brittany at Good Papyrus and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited you're here with me today because we are finishing out our little ocean series of ephemera bits, and today we are making book page pockets. In my last video, if you missed it, you may want to check it out. I did a ton of ocean themed projects. Hopefully you crafted along with me and got some great ideas for, oh gosh, what did we make? Mason jars, faux stamps, ocean themed scrapping notebooks, sea cottages. The list goes on. We did some stenciled layouts. By the way, if you think stencils are boring, you're just not using them right. Maybe we'll do a video on that in the future. But I figured we should finish it out with a supply that I know, if you're anything like me, you've hoarded a ton of. I tend to pick up books at the thrift store and I haven't done nearly enough crafting with them. And these book page pockets are cute little mini editions. They're the perfect place to store little ephemera bits or other pieces of paper you may have that you want to tuck away in your journals, and they are the perfect craft that you can sort of mold into any theme you want and make them look great in any journal that you're currently working on. So let's get to it. Okay, I guess if you missed my last video, we will just go through a couple of those projects rapid fire to hopefully give you a little bit of really quick inspiration and some ideas. I don't know about you guys, but I just loved crafting ocean themed things. I love ocean themed journals. I tend to make one every year just because it never gets old. The ocean is truly my happy place. As someone who loves to travel to destinations where there is water, as someone who loves being in the water, as someone who dives, I can't get enough of the ocean. It is magical, mysterious. Exploration of the ocean has always fascinated me greatly, and it's just somewhere where I feel relaxed and at peace. And so if you're not one with the ocean like me, maybe this series is not for you, but for all of my ocean loving creatures out there, here is another project that will hopefully make your heart happy. As I finish up this sea cottage, I can't help but think how versatile this project is. This has to be one of my absolute favorite projects that I created in my last video, and like I was talking about earlier, this project is so versatile in terms of things that you can do to customize these as well as actually do with them. The list goes on and on, between customizing the roofs, the windows, the doors, making little planter boxes for them, making a little ocean scenery out front. Gosh, the list goes on and on and on and on. And then depending on the size, you can do a ton of these things with them. You can create altered paper clips out of them. You can just use them as journaling cards and leave the back blank. You can glue them into your journal as pockets or tuck spots, or you can just fasten one to any signature page. There are so many things that you can do with these. So, and of course they don't have to be sea cottages. I love making Christmas cottages. You can create any little cottages that you would like, and it is the perfect scrap busting project. I tend to create these when I am at the end of decorating a journal and I have a ton of odds and ends. Just another idea. So for our final project in the series, we are going to be creating book page pockets, and part of the reason why I picked them is because I think the book pages look amazing up against the blue-green ocean themes that we are going to be working with specifically for the journal that I'm working on. So, like I alluded to earlier, we are going to be creating 5 different pockets today. Some of them are going to have more pockets than others. All of them work fine freestanding if you just want to clip them into your journal, or you can obviously create an extra pocket by gluing them into your journal. I'm just going to start by cutting out some book pages with my craft knife. I like doing this way because you get nice even edges as opposed to ripping them out, and then I go ahead and just trim off another little piece of the edge with my paper trimmer to make sure they're good and even. Okay, I'll admit I cheated a little bit. I did pre-fold these just so I wouldn't be struggling on camera to remember how I created each of them. Okay, so you're going to want to start with your book page straight up and down like you normally would, and all we're going to do with this one is crease our paper in half lengthwise. That way we know how far to bring our folds. Once you've creased your paper lengthwise, you're going to open it back up and you're just going to bring the top two corners to the center. Just fold them over like little bunny ears, and this is just going to create the look of sort of an envelope. Then you're going to fold the top, or the bottom, like quarter rather, all the way up, and it's just going to look kind of like an envelope. And I really like this. It's very, very basic. I don't know, I like it. It's very, very simple, and it's good for holding small little pieces of ephemera, maybe some journal cards, depending on the size of your cards. And then once I have my folds, I am going to glue it. I always do my folds first, and you know the saying, measure twice, cut once. Yeah, I abide by that. So I do my folds first so that, you know, I have some leeway in case I mess it up. And once the folds are exactly the way I want, then I apply my glue. For these book page pockets, I am going to be decorating them to accentuate the where the pockets are, but I do like inking them up. I think it just really draws attention to the pockets themselves and gives the book page some character. Make sure when you're gluing the bottom half that you're only applying glue to the edges and that you do not glue your pocket shut. Fold it back up and we have our first pocket complete. This pocket only has one pocket, but you can create a second pocket just by simply gluing the sides to the page, leaving an opening, and then there you have a second pocket. Some of these other book page pockets will have a multitude of pockets. You can pick what you like. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so pocket number 2, I'm not quite sure what I'm calling this pocket, but nevertheless, you're going to be left with a large pocket and some smaller pockets. So all we're going to do is fold your paper over. We're going to fold it into a triangle, okay? And then you're going to take that triangle and you're going to fold it up to meet the corner so that you create another triangle, okay? And then I just like to fold over the top. I'm not sure why. It kind of, I don't know, I just like the way it looked, kind of like with just the text showing, I guess. There's really no purpose to having that tab folded over on top, so you can do it however you like. I just thought it looked better with like it being shorter on top. I don't know if that makes any sense, but just make sure you do these folds first before you glue. It can be a little bit tricky. Make sure you're not gluing your pocket shut, and then you want to obviously ink everything up. These pockets may look plain now, but I promise you they look so good decorated, and I do favor these book page pockets where you get multiple pockets out of a single book page. Like, I think it's so cute, that little pocket on the bottom would be perfect for, like, I was thinking like postage stamps or really small little die cuts. And these book page pockets are perfect, especially if you are gifting this journal to someone or if you're selling it. I just think it's really, really nice to give someone the chance to personalize it. Okay, as we do with our other ones, we're just going to come in with our glue. I go ahead and I have to think about this for a second. I want to make sure that that pocket is free, the whole pocket. I want to make sure I'm not like preemptively gluing it shut. So you can just glue, I think it's easiest just to glue all along where the edge is going to meet the page, but only glue exactly along that edge. And same with that final triangle pocket down below. You only want to glue where the edge of the paper is going to meet. So just glue all along the edge, no more, and wham bam, we have a second pocket. And I know these probably look really plain, but I'm telling you, like, they look so good decorated, especially if you let some of the text show through. Yes, I love decorating these, and these are perfect for scraps. So this is another project I often make at the end of a project or end of creating a specifically themed journal, because all those like paper, fabric, odds and ends and die cuts you may have, they look perfect decorated on these book page pockets. All right, we're already on pocket number 3. So this is going to be a little bit different because this pocket is going to give us 2 slim pockets on the sides and then a fat pocket up front. What you want to do is fold your page about 1/4 of the way, maybe a little bit less, fold on each side, the right and the left, and by doing that, we're going to create 2 slim pockets on each side, and then we're going to fold the bottom of the page just directly up, and that's going to create that fat pocket. Now, when you're gluing the sides, you want to make sure you're only gluing the very outer edge, or else you're going to glue your already really slim pocket basically shut, because there's not going to be anything there. So be really careful when you do this, and you're going to want to ink your pockets just like you would normally. Now, a lot of people will use a half circle punch to delineate the pocket. I thought maybe I'll just try something a little bit different here. Those tall, slim things didn't really look like pockets to me, so I decided to just cut out a little triangle to kind of show that, you know, there was something in here. You can do that. You can cut out all different shapes and sizes, just something to create a little divot so it signifies a pocket. I was kind of thinking it looked a little weird to begin with, but I think if I were to go over that little divot with some stickles, I was thinking, or some kind of like gold luster, it would actually look really, really good, just to give it a little bit more contrast and let it stick out. Maybe go along it with some glitter glue or something like that. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. The funny thing about this project is I do make book page pockets pretty frequently, but my batch never quite looks like the last, because some of these are just impossible to remember how you did the folds, and there are just so many different ways you can fold a paper and create pockets depending on the size of the pocket that you want and the size of the book page you're using. You could literally make a bajillion pockets and probably never fold the page exactly like you did the last time. Okay, so I'm not sure what I'm calling this pocket. Maybe like a burrito pocket, because it's more like a wrap. But anyways, I think this ended up being one of my absolute favorite ones. It ended up being sort of like a tuck spot, and I just really liked the way that I was able to decorate it because it was a wrap. You could even actually create like a closure if you wanted, with a button and twine or something like that. But anyways, all I want you to do is just take the page lengthwise, and I want you to, on each side, I want you to bring the corners together and make sure you crease these really well. Actually, I think when you're doing these folds, a bone folder can be really helpful to just really get that nice crease on it. But anyways, you just want the top and the bottom of the page to sort of look like an envelope, okay? Then I want you to fold it again so that the edges of that envelope kind of meet each other and one overlaps on the other just a little bit. You don't have to necessarily do that part. I just like the way that that little asymmetry looks. I don't know, I think it just looks a little bit more elegant that way. And then you really want to ink those edges if you're choosing to do that. I just think it really gives it some distinction and kind of makes it stick out, because otherwise when the pages overlap, it doesn't really look as cool to me. It just when the edges are inked, it just looks like it kind of accentuates the folds, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Once you have everything folded, just go ahead and go along your folds with some wet white glue or some glue stick. Glue stick probably works better here because it doesn't wrinkle the fragile book pages, but nevertheless, I'm being lazy today and just using my wet white glue. Just make sure you don't use a whole lot of it. Go over those edges and creases and get them nice and gluey. Spread the glue out and then bring your corners up just along the fold lines there, and then bring your pages together like we did earlier. Go ahead and make another crease, bring your triangles together, and you have a wrap. When you glue your wrap together, you want to be careful. Make sure you don't over glue so it sticks to the back of the page there. You want to make sure you're only getting glue where it's gonna meet that second fold and not onto the background. You can stick your scissors through, just like I do here, to make sure that you have left yourself a nice little tuck spot and that your pages are not all stuck with the glue together. Somehow, believe it or not, we are already at book page pocket number 5. Like I said, these are so much fun to make, and there are just so many different ways you can fold things. There's really no right or wrong way. So I will be probably making a bunch more of these off camera. So for our 5th one, it's gonna kind of look a little bit complicated, so bear with me. I don't even think I knew how I folded this, so I had to sort of go back and convince myself that I knew how to fold it. Okay, let's start with our paper and we will go from there. Okay, so turn your paper lengthwise, and what I want you to do is bring up that bottom corner, fold it over so you're folding it into a triangle that meets the edge of the other page. Okay, that's step number 1. Now just bear with me. It looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. Next, I want you to just bring that other side of the paper, I want you to fold those edges in to where the first fold meets the page. Does that make sense? Okay, you're going to fold the bottom part into a triangle, and you're just going to fold the other side over twice to just kind of make bunny ears, aka just like a little envelope flap. Okay. Next, we're going to take that bottom little triangle that's left over and just fold it so it meets the center of the page. Yeah, fold the bottom triangle over so it meets the center of the page. So essentially you're kind of like, maybe we'll call this our starfish fold. You have a bunch of flappies flapping going on. It'll be okay. We're going to make something out of this, I promise. At this point in time, I'm just trying to remember how I'm supposed to be gluing this, because I feel like I'm going to glue the pockets shut. Take that left flap and put a line of glue along the bottom edge there and fold it over. Okay, good. So we have a little side pocket there. Now I want you to take that bottom edge and just put glue all along that edge, the first fold that you did, and make sure you're only gluing the edge. Okay, make sure you're not applying glue to the entire thing, or else you will close off one of your potential pockets. Okay, so we went all along the edge. This kind of reminds me of the other thing, the other fold that we did, but this way we're going to have a few more pockets than we did with our last book page pocket. Okay, so next I want you to make sure you leave that middle pocket open. Next I want you to put some glue along the edge of that triangle, and we're going to seal that triangle shut. Well, we're not going to seal it shut. We're going to glue along the edge and bring that triangle to the center right there, and then that way you're going to have another small side pocket. So you have a small side pocket to the right, a small side pocket to the left, and then a larger pocket going diagonally. I hope that makes sense. Hopefully with the help of my scissors you can see what's supposed to be open. I know it seems complicated, but essentially we're just folding a triangle and then folding the corners over and then bringing that dangling triangle down to the center. And that way we have 3 pockets, 2 minis and a full. As you can see, I was struggling a little bit as I was going along, just trying to remember exactly where I had folded them and glued them. And there's no right way to do this. I had some pockets in mind, and I wanted to make sure I was demonstrating the pockets that I had made earlier, but really you can just roll with it. Like, fold some things down, glue it halfway, and you've made a pocket. There's so many different ways you can fold these and decorate them. The point is just to craft with book pages and use up supplies that I know we all have, and don't craft with nearly enough. There's something so nice about like these creamy looking older book pages with the text over top. You can decorate them in a way where you can turn them into any like theme or color scheme that you want, but still honoring the original book page itself by letting the text pop through. And I don't know, I really like the look of them, and I am all about adding pockets to my junk journals. Speaking of forgotten sources of craft supplies, I love decorating these with washi tape. Why? Because, I mean, first of all, I hoard washi tape. I have to find something to do with all of the washi tape that I've bought. But second of all, the washi tape oftentimes is transparent, so it allows you to decorate the pockets as you wish, but also it allows some of the text to poke out the side so that you can still kind of honor the book pages and it still look like a book page. I also find that I love lining the pockets to just kind of accentuate where the actual fold, where the pocket actually is. And one of the best ways to do this is by lining it with something, aka washi tape works perfect for this. Just make sure when you're using washi tape you're applying some glue stick over top, or else these really have a tendency to peel over time, especially if you're putting things in and taking things out of the pocket. I got some washi tape recently, decorative ocean themed, as you see here, and the washi tape actually, instead of a landscape, it has multiple different kind of decorations. And so even though it looks probably kind of laborious, I actually have found that I really like fussy cutting some of the images of the washi tape out. That might not be for everybody, but I like getting rid of the white space and just kind of creating certain, I used like shells. So I put waves on one to create a focal point. So I sort of created a focal point on each pocket, and then I went in with some liquid pearls or stickles because I love putting some glitter on all this stuff. On one of my next pockets, I really leaned into the fact that it was a wrap, and just took some washi tape and started layering. I had some like ocean themed stickers, some whale and shark stickers, and created a background with some of the washi tape that I had. And this wrap, I actually lined the pockets with fabric. This blue lace I thought looked beautiful and just really worked its way into the background, the ocean theme there. I have water up front, and I thought, well, like, let's line the pocket with something to kind of accentuate it. And that's what I did with the lace. You can do this with stickles, liquid pearls, any kind of ink or pigment, just something to accentuate the fact that this is a pocket, kind of bring attention to it. And I love adding like layering textures. I think it's a great way to sort of add interest to the pockets. Be creative with it. Here I added some stickles to kind of replicate some bubbles around the whale, and I ended up breaking out my watercolors. I love using watercolor on book pages. Try not to use so much water because it will wrinkle them, but again, the watercolor looks amazing, and it's a great way to add pigment while still allowing the book page to pop out underneath. You can still see the text, which is another reason why I love decorating with watercolor and washi. You don't completely mute the text. You don't get like weird lines and stuff. It sort of all blends together. Gold gilding wax is another perfect way to do that. Maybe some lightly shaded colored pencil. It all works. So friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some good ideas for some ocean themed ephemera you can make, as well as some ways to make some book page pockets and use up all those book pages I know you have hoarded if you're anything like me. If you enjoyed this and want to see more of Ink and Papyrus, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you the next time.